Hello everyone and welcome to today's stream. Weirdly, it feels like a long time since Wednesday. I don't know why, it's just that this week has been quite a long one. But we're back and yeah, we're going to be getting on with some line art today. Sorry it's been a week of line art this week, but you know, I like to change it up. We'll probably be back to painting next week. But yes, today we are shaking things up a bit. We are going to work on a slightly different character. This is an elven, I believe they might be a druid. I'm not actually totally sure. But yes, they are a very cool character. They are another commissioned piece. This time, they're not a full painterly style character. This is going to be cell shaded. So my slightly simpler shading style. But before we can get to that, we will need to embark on the journey of line art. Oh, Valkyrie's biceps, thank you so much for joining. I'm very pleased you could make it to stream today. But yeah, I'm doing well this afternoon. I have a bit of backache because I've been sewing all day, which was foolish of me, really. I probably should have taken more breaks, but I'm very bad at taking breaks. So anyway, for now, let us kind of make a start with this line art. This is kind of like the polished sketch phase that I sent to the commissioner to kind of clear the design with them, which was fine. So once that's been approved, we can get rid of this kind of just background shading, which just puts things together. We can get rid of the magic effects, because I'll obviously be doing like a more polished version of those in a bit. And we can also just grab the sketch and merge it all together. So it's just in one layer, and then we're going to turn the opacity right down so it's quite faint as we do the line art over the top. Yeah, the sewing's going really well. I've been making progress on these underdress that I'm making. There's so much fabric. But I've been filming the process as well and started doing some video editing, so hopefully at some point in the next couple of weeks I'll be able to upload the video of me making it and kind of make a bit of tutorial of it. So we're going to resize this canvas, make it as large as we need it. I'm going to go up to 3400. That'll just boost it up a bit. It might take a minute to kind of calculate the change in canvas size. Yep, there we go. Oh, Rebel, thank you so much. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I hope it's kind of helpful and informative. I'm trying to make it like, I'm trying to do the best production values I can. Okay, so let's start naming some layers. We're going to call this one sketch. We're going to call this one shadow, and then we'll make a new one for our lines. Like so, and we're going to make sure that's set to multiply, and we're going to grab a dark grey to start doing those lines. So, switching to my usual line art brush, which is, I might as well just do it manually. Let's close that. Fourth brush down in the general brushes. Then we're going to go across and tick transfer to make sure that's turned on. And then just make sure it's the right size. I think we're probably going to start with an 8 for the face. And that gives us kind of space to go down to like a size 6 for doing the eyes and the features, which tend to have a bit more detail. Alright, let's just get started. And using a really, really light touch for the lines. We don't want them to be too heavy. So I'm barely touching the tablet as I do this. Often my other hand is poised over Control Z as well. And just really gently, rather than doing one smooth line at a time, it's more like building up lots of faint lines. I find that gives a nicer effect than going kind of hard with one long line. It can actually look smoother if you build it up of several smaller ones. Oops, my eraser is not the right brush either. There we go. Yeah, it's a decent Friday. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I've got quite a lot of work done this week, which is nice. But I'm tired. I'm very tired. I'm looking forward to having a nice lie-in tomorrow. Since my partner is obviously off work, it means I don't have to drive him into work, which means I can get up a bit later. Just gonna kind of put the neck in there before I start looking at the bits. Right, we're already on a 6. I think a 6 will do. Actually, I think I might grab a 5. Yeah, that's a bit better. Oh gosh, that's very exciting. Good luck, Cyber Spectre. I wish your D&D group all the best in their big chaotic battle. Everyone's designing and doing new characters and playing D&D. It's really good. Oh yes, and thank you so much, Rebel, for hosting. As always, extremely kind of you. Alright, there's the lips. We're just going to pop in the nose next. Kind of working our way up the face. A little bit backwards is how I usually work. Usually I work kind of top down. But when it comes to facial features, I kind of start at the bottom with the lips and work my way up. Oh, Rebel. You do so much already. You're very generous and kind. Yes, I am actually going to really gently pop the diamond in there. Okay, now we'll do the eyes. Eyes are super fun. And probably the hardest part. Oh, Ancient Black Dragon. That's gonna be quite the battle. Good luck indeed. My D&D got postponed this week because everyone's a little bit tired right now. But hoping to pick it up again next week. Right, let's also pop in the eyebrow while we're here. Okay, and then the other eye. And once again, using that incredibly kind of soft touch, we really don't need to be pressing the pen into the tablet very hard at all for this. Okay, I'm just going to pop in the other eyebrow and then I'm going to add some kind of eyelash detail. So I'm going to go down to 4 and just kind of gently kind of suggest where the eyelashes are. Like so. And I'm just going to make this bit of the eye a little bit heavier there. Okay, see, I reckon I know what I'm gonna feel as soon as I flip this canvas. Whoops, don't want to do that. So we're going to flip the image so that I can make sure the eyes are balanced with each other. And as I expected, I can see areas to improve here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the wonderful magical Liquify layer. Hey, thank you so much to Berry Barry for following. And we're going to kind of correct the imbalance in the eyes. So the wonderful thing about Liquify is, I'm sure you're aware by now, because I've shown you a few times, you can just grab your image and kind of tweak it and pull it around and stuff, and it's really good fun. But also incredibly useful. So for example, I can move down a bit. The other eye, whoops, not that big. I think 300, yeah. The other eye can go up a tiny bit. And we can just kind of change our angles a little. I think that can come down and then hit OK. And you can see it's just kind of balanced things out for us quite nicely. Okay, I'm going to flip back. I'm also just going to add a couple more eyelashes and just generally try and kind of like balance it out. Okay. So with that, I just put in another very gentle line, just suggest the edge of the eye socket there. Oh, like so, probably. Yeah, I do say that a lot. Now I realize. Cool. Okay, now we can kind of progress to the hair. I do say like so a lot, don't I? Okay, art is a mystery to me. Yeah, me too. I don't understand how art works. I just kind of wing it. Everything I do is just me winging it. Okay, so we've got a cool kind of sides shaved, braided hairstyle going on here, which is going to be pretty cool to render. But for now, we just got to get them lines in and looking nice. Haha, side shaves are really cool, I know. I feel like I live voraciously through my D&D characters. They all have the hairstyles that I wish I had in real life. But I'm either too cowardly for, or my hair type would never work with. How do you differentiate between different elf subraces art ways? It really depends, to be honest. Most of the time, obviously, my work is commissioned pieces. So I'll go with whatever the commission wants, right? Sometimes people like their kind of elves to have really long, more World of Warcraft style ears. Sometimes people prefer their full elves to have ears like this. This particular character, I believe, is actually half elf. So their ears are pointed, but not super long. I kind of like somewhere in between the two. Not quite World of Warcraft length ears, but I still quite like long expressive ears. Even my tieflings have quite long ears. Even if their parents weren't necessarily elven in ancestry. Because it's fun. Okay, we've basically got one braid coming up here on the side of the head, and the main body of the rest of the braid is just going to kind of continue back behind the neck. So I'm just going to pop in the basic shape of this braid first, like so. And this means you get to see me drawing braids again. Okay, kind of roughly getting that shape in, and then the rest obviously will carry on behind the head. Yeah, my hair is not particularly thin, as you can see, but it resists styling. Like I put it in rags night before last to kind of curl it, and it was fairly curly yesterday, and today it's just kind of poofy. It's not really curly anymore, and it doesn't really respond well to like heated tongs for curling either. Like it will hold a curl for like an hour or two and then start going limp. So I find the best way to curl my hair is to, like I say, put it in rags. Which I think is better for it because it's not using heat at all. Right, let's just do kind of the tail end of this little braid. Okay, and then we've kind of got the cloak coming back behind. So that's going to be our cut-off point for where the hair can no longer be seen. And then we've got a bit of hair that's just kind of curling up around here. And I'm just going to trim where we went over our lines a little bit there and just reinforce the face line out just a tiny bit. And there is the face. And we can carry on working our way down. Aw, thank you, Maduaki. Yeah, it's nice. I wanted to do a more dynamic pose with this one, and I think it's quite a good thing to kind of practice and explore. Cool, so let's do this at the top of the cloak. And I'm going to bump up to a 7, I think. Oh gosh, my legs are going numb. Top of my list at the moment is I need a more comfortable chair. I'm using a really cheap IKEA office chair still, and most of the plasticky kind of fake leather coating has melted. Because I think I just get really warm. Got like a little star-shaped fibula to kind of hold the cloak on. Oh no. Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, having animals does mean you don't want to spend £1 million on your furniture. And I think what we're going to do here is, rather than having the fibula actually holding it shut, we're going to have a knotted style cloak going on here, I think. Because I think it's a bit more kind of natural looking. And then we got this side just kind of coming across and draping over the shoulder. Ooh, itchy face. Like so, it kind of ties over there. Yeah, you kind of have to be like, okay, no, today I'm gonna do a dynamic pose for this character, right? You just gotta kind of force yourself to do it. Kind of the edge of the sleeve there, and like a little under top, kind of probably like a sports bra style stitch. That's the underside of the arm. Oh yeah, Senshi stock is really useful for dynamic poses. I think this one might have even been, I might have used like parts of the Senshi stock for this one, like the raised arm maybe, I can't remember now. Let's just go up, and while we're talking about it, let's just draw in the arm now. Yeah, I have like a collection of links to stock artists that I really like. Senshi is one of them. Alright, and it doesn't matter too much if we vary the line weight or it gets a bit heavier in places. It's not going to be quite so noticeable when it's all fully coloured, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. You kind of got to not get bogged down in little details too much, or you just never finish a piece. Thank you so much to the Donut Reaper for following. Welcome to the stream. And again, keeping a really light brush for doing the hand. Hands are hard enough to draw already. So if you keep your touch very light, it's a lot easier to kind of correct mistakes on the fly. There we go. And there is a hand. Thank you so much to Undumiel33 for the follow. Right, can I see how it looks like without sketch layer now? Cool, so let's continue with the shirt. just gonna... Oh, I said it again, didn't I? Ah! Now you've pointed it out, I can't not think about it. What have you done to me? Oh, it's alright. Cursor for what has been seen, indeed, indeed. Excuse me. I'm just going to gently put some creases in the fabric here and here, and then we can start doing the kind of waist broad belt look we've got going. And the nice thing about these commissions is they come together quite, they flow quite nicely sometimes. You get into like a rhythm of doing the line art and then it's like, yeah, just making good time, you know? Cool, this is the point where we start to get more overlapping details. When I think about, do I want to introduce layers on top? So I think I will. I think we'll do a new layer for as we start to do some of these more detailed parts, such as this bow. This bow, like so. And then just kind of like easing down, whoops, into the bow itself. And for this kind of thing, sometimes I will just do long strokes to get a quick, smooth line. Some just kind of long creases along the sides that are more kind of scrunched in. Thank you so much, Joshua Nedzerki, for the host and for following. Thank you. Very, very kind. Yeah, and then we'll do kind of like the trailing parts of these ribbons down here. And the second one. Thank you so much, Beta Wood, for also following. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Thank you very much. You know, I felt like line art today. Sometimes you just kind of know what's going to be a good thing to paint. Kind of again, to see it without the sketch. And then we can continue with some of the more other kind of surface details, such as this belt that's kind of riding quite low on the hip. And there's also got the spellbook attached to it. Actually, now think about it, this character's probably a wizard, aren't they? Because they've got a spellbook. Yeah, I used to, all my line art, I used to do it in pencil and ink, then I'd scan it in and add colour digitally, but these days I just kind of, I do it all in digital. Mostly because you need to have a really good quality scanner for, like, for character commission standard kind of line art, I find. And getting it, also, often, like, I like to draw A3 if I'm drawing traditionally, and it's really hard to find a scanner that will do A3 that's not stupidly expensive. Oh, a question for Chat Rachel. How do I usually pick subclasses for my characters? It depends. Often I will find that I have a really strong idea for a subclass as I'm designing the character. So for example, Reza, I knew right from the start was going to be either a beast barbarian or a kind of totem barbarian. And I quite quickly settled on beast barbarian because it was kind of like a new class that was fun to try out. Because I personally kind of, I make it like, I weave it into a character's aesthetic quite strongly, like into their identity as well, so I usually know from the start what I'm going to go with. And then we've got a little cord that's going to come up here. And then this is going to go underneath here. And then this is what's holding this little pouch onto the side there. There we go, that's most of the belt kind of in. It does take me a while to actually make my mind up though. I do end up going through subclasses for quite a while. Oh, I'm doing L3-3, no worries at all. I kind of like to try and talk people through it as I go. Cool, so let's get this book in. Kind of got like a heavy kind of book holster to help keep it on. I might just do the side of the leg while I'm here, just to give us that kind of surface. And she's wearing quite kind of tight leggings underneath the kind of tunic, so we can put in some little folds there. We got the cover of the book as it comes down. Like so. I said it again. Oops. Teehee. I'm really sad. My copy of Candlekeep Mysteries still hasn't arrived. I thought I'd get it soon as well because I pre-ordered it and I was promised I'd get it on release day, and I'm like, well, that was 2 days ago now, so when am I going to see my book? Have I ever let a campaign's results determine the subclass in an organic fashion? In some ways I have. I gotta be honest, I mostly DM 5e. I haven't played in that many games. All the games that I've played in have started at level 5, so I've kind of already started with a subclass. So I haven't really been in a position where I've played a level 1 character that's naturally kind of chosen its subclass organically, which is a tragic thing, yes I know. Okay, there is the book on the hip. There we go, you can kind of see it like that. So that's most of the kind of stuff on the belt that she's carrying done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to our other line layer and just start. Actually, I'm going to go up to a 7 because 6 is a little bitty, but 9 is definitely too big. To do these layers of. It's not really a skirt. It's like, I'd say, a continuation of the top / tunic that she's wearing. Oh yeah, I definitely enjoy the organic playstyle where you kind of let the events determine what your character turns out as. I definitely like to do that myself. It's just not really happened in a game for me yet. The only game I've done with level 1 characters recently is the one that I'm actually currently DMing, which was my Realm of the Frost Maiden game, where my characters started as little ickle babies at level 1. few little, just little fabric folds in there. I'm going to tone them down a bit, they're a little bit strong in places. There we go. That's something I'm more happy with. Then we can turn our sketch back on to do the last layer of the tunic. Usually I find I'm not usually too torn between subclasses. I usually have an idea of the theme for the character. And with some things, there are some classes I'm just not as interested in playing. And some themes that I love playing. So I love themes of transformation. So the Beast Barbarian was kind of an obvious choice for me. And if I played a wizard, they'd probably be Transmutation Wizard and so on and so forth. And if I was Druid, I definitely want to do a Circle of the Moon Druid at some point, because I haven't played Druid in well, I've only played Druid once, and it was in a very short one-shot campaign. Okay, we've kind of got the tunic and the skirt down. I'm just going to pop in this little kind of coin pouch, and then we can carry on down to the legs. And we're making great time, so I think we will easily start working on the colours today for this one. Moon Druids are great. I love them though. Hey, Unicorn Dude. Yeah, welcome. You've joined us at a good time. We've got plenty of time left today. Neat. Okay, so with that done, let's just carry on. Work our way down the legs. 6 is fine. We'll just jam with the 6 for now. Stick some little creases in there. The one feedback the commission did have is this character does not have heeled boots, so I will be removing the heels when we get down there. Going to be a few creases around kind of where the knee comes in, and then it's going to be smooth, tight booties down towards the ankle, where we then start to get a bit more kind of bunching up of I imagine the leather of these kind of boots. Oh, thank you so much, Joshua. Elevated flats, indeed. So we're going to change from the high heels to like a lower, more kind of stompy boot heel. There we go. Nah, I get a lot of character designs wearing heels because at the end of the day, who cares? It's D&D, it's fun. I've got character designs that wear heels who are fighters. You know, it's just fun. It's not real. Besides, I could easily run in heels like that. Those aren't heels. Stompers, exactly. Alright, that's kind of like the folds of the leather. Now we can go in and add the little details of the laces. Again, these don't need to be super precise because I'm going to be going over them on the overlines layer anyway, so you won't actually see a lot of the line art. Oh, thank you so much, Monkey Masters. Yeah, the more commissions I get through, the closer I get to everyone else's who's kind of waiting for them. We're getting there. I do want to open commissions in April. That's my plan. Having said that, the big NDA project that I'm currently working on just contracted me for a bunch of new work, which is wonderful news for me. Not so great for everyone waiting for commissions, so I apologize for that. But trust me, when I can announce what I'm working on, oh my god, I'm so excited to talk about it, and I know that a lot of you will be interested. Thank you so much, the Bang Designs. That's very, very kind. I think wizards have an excuse. If they've only got baby hit points to start with, they're gonna fall over whether they're wearing heels or not, so they might as well just have a good time. Love me some lace-up boots. Orange Juice God, yes, you're on the list, and I've got you kind of on a countdown basically at the moment. Everyone who hasn't had their commission yet. Every piece I finish brings you a little bit closer. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know that feeling. This is what happened last year for me, when all of the LARP events I had money kind of saved to go towards were cancelled. It meant that I could invest in like streaming stuff. And I've got my nice camera now. As like I say, I've been doing some filming with it as I've been making costumes. And oh, it's so nice to have a good quality camera. So yeah, hopefully the first of my LARP videos will be going up maybe end of next week. I don't know. I've got to obviously, when the costume's done, I've got a photo shoot with it and get some good pictures to kind of show it off to put in the video. So we'll see how soon I can do that because we got lockdown and everything here. But the idea isn't just to make costume making tutorials for LARP and cosplay. The idea is to go to LARPs, film lots of footage while I'm there, and do kind of reviews like or rundowns on different LARP games and how they work, how to get involved, like where to kind of sign up or register interest, all that kind of stuff, because LARPing is such a wonderfully fun hobby. It's like the evolution of the next kind of stage up of D&D. It's definitely scary and takes a while to kind of get into confidence wise. I know it did for me. I'm naturally quite a shy person socially, but I'm very excited to kind of encourage a new kind of set of people to get involved. If maybe it's a lot harder, I know, if you haven't got a group to go with to get you into it. I was lucky enough to have friends who were interested in trying it, so we went together, and from there, some of them didn't stick with it. It's not for everyone, but I fell in love with it, so I want to kind of give other people the opportunity to fall in love with it too. And thank you so much, Joshua Nizuaki, for the cheer. That is incredibly kind. Thank you so much. It's very, very, very kind. Right, gotta remember the heel isn't going to be quite so severe here, but I am still going to kind of keep the foot elevated off the floor, because it still would be, just because the heel isn't quite so tall. Oh, the bank designs, that would be really cool. Again, I struggle with, I can't do that many big group party commissions. The last one I did, I started working on it in July of last year and only finished it last week. They take me a long time because lots of characters means hundreds of hours of work, essentially. And I have like lots of commissions and projects going at the same time, so I have to kind of split my time across lots of things, which means big party commissions take a long time to get completely finished. That being said, I take on like 1 or 2 big party commissions at any one time, but you kind of just have to be prepared to wait a bit, basically, when I do take those on. I like doing it though. I like kind of having a party together, and I love the reactions of players when they kind of get it. The last one I did was a surprise for the GM, and it was so lovely seeing how happy she was about it all. Stompy heals this time, Stompy heals. Just tidy up this soul a little bit. Okay, that's the other boot's kind of main shape done. We're just gonna pop in the creases and the laces. Yeah, I love surprising people with art, especially because this particular pie commission was for a group who initially I didn't know super well, and then they invited me to actually join their campaign. We kind of knew each other vaguely from the UK LARP scene, but they're a really wonderful group of players. It's the group I now play Reza with, actually. So I have them to thank for allowing me to design my disaster barbarian, or bibarian as I call them sometimes. I think all of my D&D characters have disaster bisexual energy. Finish these little eyelets going up here, and then we put the laces in. Oh, that's super adorably exciting. Oh, matching shirts, you don't get much cooler than that. Actually, I've just realized this doesn't want to be like this, because the boots are slightly open at the top. There we go, that's better. It's a good energy. It's just so cute. I love the idea of getting group matching shirts. It's adorable. I want to get my group matching shirts. Yeah, I think my party is mostly disaster lesbians with a couple of bisexuals thrown in. It's how we roll. Alright, let's just tidy up these ear laces, and then we can do the cloak. our quotes with from characters would be cool as well, actually. Yeah, I like that idea too. My chat is so good at brainstorming cool ideas. Alright, send the sketch off for a moment. Yeah, that's looking nice. We've got to do... She probably wants to have an arm, so we should probably put that in. And then we can do the cool looking cloak, the staff, and the end of the hair just kind of peeking through. And don't forget to save. Thank you so much. I hadn't saved since I started, so thank you. Very kind. Okay, so let's do this on this layer. So we're gonna go, I think let's go to a 6. Like so. Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll just put the lines in, whoops. You don't want them to be too furry because this is a hand. Suggest the nail there. Thank you so much, Willoways, for the follow. Very, very kind. Hope you enjoyed the stream. And thank you, Scarlet Jacobs1, for following as well. They always come in pairs. Okay, that's the other hand. Whoop. Hey, Solipsistic Kitty, hello. Welcome to today's stream. Always lovely to have you here. Welcome to Elven Wizard Hours. Just gonna get the nice kind of wood grain texture of this hair staff. Thank you so much, Alexander Washington, for following as well. Very, very kind. Lots of wonderful new followers today. Woo! And the Bang Designs as well. Gosh, you're all here. You're all showing up. And thank you, Argwin. Yeah, the spellbooks. I love spellbook holsters. Like when people keep them on their hips and stuff. Always looks cool. Maybe not the most practical if you end up like pushed into a river or like jumping through a volcano and there's like embers and stuff, but who cares about that? If you want to play a practical tabletop RPG, go play the Song of Ice and Fire RPG. Note to self, book holsters. Like there are loads of crafts people and leather crafters who actually make real book holsters that look so good. If my Empire character was a bit more of a nerd, I would get one, but she's not. She's more of an Ice Queen archetype, or at least she is becoming one. All right, there is that part of the staff. I'll just do this part while I'm here. I actually tried keeping a spellbook for a bard that I played a while back, and at the first it went great, and then I forgot to use it after like the first session because I have a terrible memory for retaining these things and quite possibly ADHD too, so it didn't last long. It's the same reason I struggle to write comprehensive notes in sessions. I'm not really a note taker. So I try and design characters that are like similar in that they probably forget things too. Oh, Lightbounder, thank you so much. And if you want to find out about commissions, all of that info is on my Patreon page. You might have to scroll down a tiny bit, I'm sorry. But it is a public post, you don't have to be a subscriber to see the details about commissions. My price is probably gonna be tweaked a little bit. That particular, oh no, my pen's fallen off. That particular price list is from last September. So things are probably gonna be tweaked a bit here and there and everywhere. But that's got the most info. It's also got kind of like how it actually works, like my conditions, all that kind of stuff. Thank you for, and welcome to the stream anyway. Yeah, see, the problem I have, Bang Science, is I remember some things. The stupid thing is, I can remember details from D&D or VTM campaigns that I played 2, 3, 4 years ago. I can remember very specific details perfectly, and yet a game of D&D that I played 2 weeks ago, nothing. I will have forgotten the most important thing, for sure. My memory is very weird and selective. Very bad short term, but pretty good long term. If I may ask, how do you decide to update prices? When's a good time to do it? Well, I usually update my prices like twice a year, once a year, around that sort of thing. I don't put them up by too much. Usually it'll be an increase of either about 5 to 10% of what they currently are. Just so it better suits the time I put into them. So kind of for reference, the piece that I'm working on right now, this is kind of a 2 days worth of work type piece, maybe slightly less than 2 days worth of work. So trying to do the math in my head, at least 10 hours I would say, around, well maybe not at least, around 10 hours worth of work for this piece. So I take my hours and work out a rough kind of fair hourly rate and use that to kind of estimate my prices, if that makes sense. And so in the end, I try to get my prices to come out around 15 to 20 pounds an hour, because that's kind of what professional artists and designers in the industry charge. Almost everything comes out actually as less than that. I make more like between 10 and 15 pounds an hour on a lot of things. Not everything. Some things I can get done a lot more efficiently. The flat shaded portraits are a little bit more cost efficient that way. The intense painterly stuff takes me a long time. But the difficulty when it comes to commissions, and I'm sure a lot of artists will also agree on this, is every single piece that is commissioned to you is very different. One piece might take twice as long as another, but on the outside it might not look like there's that much of a difference between the two, because it's very much dependent on your mental state. Creating art is very it's demanding of kind of like emotional energy. It can be very tiring in a specific way. So there are some days where I really struggle to create anything I like at all, and just struggle with art majorly. There are some days I can't do it at all. Like I just cannot draw the most basic things. So it's very unpredictable. So you kind of have to keep all of that in mind when you're working out your prices. Oh, I love swishy cloaks. I got some fabric for my anniversary with my partner. He basically bought me some really nice 100% Highland wool, thick kind of royal blue fabric that I'm going to use to make a really toasty cloak to take to Empire and other LARPs and stuff. I'm going to line it with gold satin, so it's going to be super fancy. And yeah, fun things. But yeah, it's the twins 38101. I hope that kind of makes sense. It's a difficult thing to do, but don't undersell yourself and make sure you charge a fair hourly rate. There's no point charging less than minimum wage for something that you put a lot of soul into and a lot of hard work. At the end of the day, talent doesn't feed you. It all comes down to hard work, and you need to make sure people pay you fairly for it. Okay, there is the basic shape, whoops, of the cloak there. And now my question to myself is that all of the line art done? You know what, Rachel, I think it is. I'm just gonna join these up. Got a few little lines there I don't join. And everything else, I think we're good to go. How exciting. Oh wait, no we're not! I haven't done the hair. Oh dear. See what I'm talking about? Short-term memory, bad. But yeah, I think one of the hardest things about being commissionized is pricing your artwork. Especially I find when I'm charging friends, I find it so hard to, I don't know, I asking for money is my least favorite part of the whole process. But you kind of have to detach yourself from a bit and treat it, because it is a business at the end of the day, especially if you're doing commissions full-time. You know, this is what pays the rent and keeps people fed, so... Yay, braids. I love drawing braids. Ah. Oh my god, that's huge! Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of style they want the map in. But it is worth kind of, if you have an idea of how long it might take you to do, kind of use that as a benchmark. And then a lot of artists say add at least 20% on top of that. And that is essentially the charging for all of the admin sides of the job. It's paying for, you know, your time investment in like learning the skills in the first place. And you have to kind of anticipate a lot of people also want revisions on painting and work that you've done for them. So either you need to say up front in your kind of terms and conditions that your price is inclusive of kind of changes or revisions of a piece, or how much revisions will cost essentially if someone wants to make changes. Typically I include revisions in my price. If it gets a bit ridiculous though, and you've changed it like 4 times, that's when I will start to obviously say, look, I've put extra hours into this, I'm gonna have to charge you a little bit more. How do you make it through those days when it seems you can't draw? Honestly, those are the worst days, and I get that. In fact, those days are why I had to pick up other hobbies. I was having a really bad art block last year in kind of like January and February. So that's when I started teaching myself how to do leather craft and carving leather. And having something that got me away from my computer and in a different mindset, and that wasn't a commission that I was just doing for myself, really, really helped me just calm down. And it meant I was in a much better place to return to artwork a bit later. Just taking a few days off, doing something else that you love. That could be playing video games. It could be playing Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing did help a lot last year as well, actually. Right now, I'm doing the costume making. That's helping me unwind from art and stopping me getting art block as well. So try and find something that's kind of therapeutic to do outside that isn't drawing. And I find that helps. Okay, now we have actually finished the line art. Yay us. We can merge these groups together. Just gonna double check nothing's overlapping anywhere. Nope, we good. So we're gonna merge those together, put them back on multiply. We can now delete the sketch. Oh, yeah, that's fine. We'll get to that. And I'm gonna save before we lose everything. Thank you, The Bank Designs. Thank you very much. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. Like, I'm happy to answer any questions at all. It's totally fine. Pricing your work is horribly hard, especially, you know, when you're painting for friends. It's very difficult to, you know, to ask a fair price from friends, because you don't want, you know, you don't want them to feel like they're almost like obliged to say yes, because at the end of the day, if something is outside your budget, it's absolutely fine to say that, because then at least the artist can say, that's okay, how about we work on something a bit smaller, or we can kind of compromise. But it is difficult with friends because you don't want to hurt their feelings. Hey, fanboy of Bolus, welcome to the stream. Today we are painting elven wizards, as you can probably see. I'm just going to rename this lines again because it's lost its name. And we can get started with the paint job. So I'm just going to double check the reference for this lovely character. I've just noticed the commission didn't bring this up. This character's meant to have an eye patch. Why didn't they tell me this? Oh well, we can add an eye patch in. That's not a big deal. Yeah, this is, like, we literally just finished this. This was the first half of the stream, was working on the line work. So I'm just going to turn the opacity down and draft up a quick eye patch on top. I got so carried away enjoying drawing the eyes that I forgot this character wore an eye patch. And the funny thing is, I sent the progress sketch to the commissioner without the eye patch, and they didn't flag it up, so... This is how I tend to do additions. I will make a new layer and sketch it out in, like, a small, a slightly rougher, kind of lighter tone. Actually, no, that doesn't go... It kind of does go like that, doesn't it? And then on the other side, I've got one. And that will kind of tuck into the hair. Like so. Ooh, Shifter Twilight Cleric. That sounds fantastic. I love shifter characters. Again, I am a sucker for characters that are very, that kind of are themes of transformation and change. I love those characters. 2 pieces. Oh, Frumpkin the Faking, I'm really sorry. That absolutely will not help. Just when stuff like that happens, don't even try to be productive. Just look after yourself, self-care. Just, you know, take time for you. Don't worry about clients when that shit happens. Okay, I'm going to break my own heart now and erase some of my line art. Goodbye, eyes. I took so long getting you nice and looking balanced and everything, just to be erased. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. Cool, so with that done, we're going to just turn down that little sketch of the eye patch, turn the line art back up, grab the color of our line art again. Oh, awful to ask. Canvas size and image resolution. Resolution, I keep the same. Canvas size, it depends. Usually when I start a sketch, I will start on an A4 size canvas at 300 DPI. Once a sketch is done, I will resize the canvas, usually between 3K and 4K. This character, because they've got a wide base to their cloak and they're holding an arm out to the side, it kind of widened the canvas a bit, so this one is at 34 by 46. The kind of vertical measurement, I just let that automatically adjust to the width. I don't kind of set that. Solipsistic Kitty, please don't tempt fate. Please. Right. Oops, that line wasn't quite where I wanted it. There we go. And I'm actually going to put a nice cute little kind of woven design into this strap because it seems to suit the aesthetic of the character, and I like varying up my textures. Yeah, I get that feeling, Frumpkin. I grew up with dogs. We always had a few dogs. Currently there are 6 dogs at my parents' house. But you never get used to that feeling of when a loved kind of pet passes. It's always incredibly tough, so you just gotta really take time out for yourself and look after yourself. Alright, we now have an eye patch. Yay. That nice cute version with the eye. I'm actually tempted to keep that. I might just say lines that are with the eye and just leave it off, stick it at the bottom, just in case the commissioner changes their mind. Oh, Lizzo, thank you so much. Cool, now it's time to start colours. So first colour layer we're gonna do is Aziskyun. Line with. Okay, there we go. That's another case of me being borderline dyslexic. Let's just repeat a word twice, why not? Oh dear, okay, back to our skin. Let me just double check the info for this character. I think they are fairly pale. Yes, they are. So, for fair skin, with this particular style, I use quite saturated colours. So let's start with that, see if I like it, change it if I don't. It's like using a Dulux paint tester. Yeah, this will do to start with. So now, we are just going to paint in everywhere where we have bare skin showing. And don't forget to say, very important, thank you very much for reminding me. And then we're just going to go around all these kind of lines that we've got in paint by numbers style and fill in the flesh tone. Yeah, see, when I'm streaming, I try to be well behaved and name my layers. When I'm not streaming, oh, you should see the messes I have of so many unnamed layers, like going up to like layer 50 something, and there's just 50 unnamed layers. Hey, thank you so much for the follow, DM Disaster, Borgwitch, and Hairstyle. I hope I said that right. And just a quick reminder that subs to both the Twitch channel and the Patreon both have access to the Discord, where you can share your own art, kind of get art feedback, chat about TTRPGs. We have like a channel dedicated to just talking about D&D and chatting about all that kind of stuff. So if you have subbed recently or joined the Patreon, please do check that out. Oh, thank you so much, Hairstyle. Yeah. Live D&D art is the name of this channel. Well, it's not the name of this channel, but it is what this channel does. You joined us just as we finished the line art and are starting the colour stage. You know, I'm tempted I might stream for a bit longer tonight. Usually I stop at an hour and a half, but I might go to 2 hours. See how I feel. Yes, if you do commission me and you want to see some of your commission painted on stream, do please ask, because if you ask, then most likely I'll say yes. What time is it there? It is 6:10 in the evening here. It's approaching dinner time, so if I keep going till 7 o'clock, then that'll be, you know, comfortably dinner time. I don't think our daylight savings have kicked in yet. These days, I have no idea. I just let my phone and my tech automatically update and just live in a new time. Oh, the bang designs, thank you so much. It's funny, I've always been quite insecure about my line work until recently. My lines aren't as neat or as smooth as a lot of artists' lines. I know that that's partially due to the fact that Photoshop doesn't really support doing line art particularly well, not compared to something like Manga Studio or Clip Studio Paint. So Photoshop does make doing line art a bit harder, but you just kind of gotta take that in your stride and fold that into your own style. Question, how much reference do you like from a commissioner's end? How much reference do I like? Lots! The more you give me, the better. The very best kind of reference is if you have existing art that another artist has painted of your character. If you don't, that's fine. It does add a little bit to the price because obviously I have to do a lot of design work from the ground up. If you don't have that, the best things to send me are send me pictures of fashion, like clothes that look like what you imagine your character wearing. Obviously, please understand I can't directly copy anything. I can use kind of inspiration from stuff, but I cannot copy existing designs. But yeah, inspiration is fine. Color palettes, I love getting kind of aesthetic mood boards and color palettes. They just they're really visceral. I love them. That stuff's great. Written description obviously is really useful. Don't worry about going into too much detail in terms of backstory and kind of what's happened to them in the campaign. If it's important for the visuals and the mood of the piece, add it. If it's not, don't worry too much, because otherwise important details can sometimes get lost in stuff that isn't as important. But yeah, character mood boards are great. I have mood boards for most of my characters. Especially my VTM characters, because there's nothing quite as dark and broody as VTM. Do I have an Instagram? I do actually. I'll pop it in here. My Instagram, I obviously will post almost all my artwork on there as I finish it. I also post costume making and miniature painting on there. And then I also post regularly to my Twitter is kind of like my main hub. It's where I update on when I'm streaming. I also post finished art on Twitter as well. So that's all worth checking out. Also, it's probably worth mentioning now since I'm putting links in chat. Yeah, bullet list is really helpful, that's for sure. I also have a YouTube channel, so if you do enjoy today's stream, I've got lots of VODs from previous streams up there. I also am going to start a series of kind of costume making tutorials for cosplay and LARP costumes soon. I'm in the process of filming the first one. It's a gradual process because it can only happen as fast as I can sew. Seamstressing is not the fastest hobby in the world. But if you've been interested in LARP or cosplay and want to know where to start in making your own clothes, then it'll be a, hopefully a cute little series to follow. Yeah. Mood boards are very fun. Swatches of colors are super useful. There are loads of really fun websites where you can upload a photograph and they'll build like a color palette swatch based on the photo for you. Or you can just kind of color pick them yourself. I love those because it gives me something really strong to work from when I'm picking colors for your character design. Thank you so much, PBD33, for the follow. Just gonna finish filling in this hand. Unfortunately, this is probably the most tedious bit of the whole process, just hand filling in all of the colour areas, but I only do one at a time and then I do the actual fun part, which is shading. So hopefully you will see how I approach shading the face and the portrait in a minute. And thank you, VLink64 for following as well. Like I said earlier, they always come in pairs. Or maybe it's just I only get the alerts like 2 at a time. I don't know. Okay, that's the arm that's obviously showing the most skin, so now that one's done. Oh, hey, thank you so much, Rupert Art, for the raid. Welcome, welcome. We are painting elves today. It's an elf day. Why weren't you at elf training? Let's just fill in this little peeking shoulder here. Little shoulder peak. I've got a question. Are there types of characters that you just won't do, like anthropomorphic ones or mechanical ones? So as a general rule, no. I enjoy painting anthropomorphic characters. They make a nice change. They do tend to be a bit more complex than normal humanoids. So they do cost a little bit extra because they take a little bit longer to kind of work out and construct. Warforged, see, here is where I have a bit more of a tricky relationship because I typically don't do a lot of mechs, and Warforged are kind of mechs. But if your Warforged is wearing kind of clothing and armor, then the only real mech parts are the face and the hands and stuff, the bits that are showing, so I don't mind too much. Again, it adds a bit price-wise because the textures of, like, again, the parts that are showing will be quite complex. But it's all on a case-by-case basis. You know, the best thing to do is ask me, and I can let you know if something's that I would happily kind of paint and stuff like that. And thank you so much, DuckQuack505, for the follow as well. Suddenly everyone's turning up. It must be, I don't know, maybe it's lunch break time somewhere. But thank you all for joining me. It's very, very kind of you. No worries. Always happy to answer questions. Oh, it's really annoying me. I'm going to have to just tidy up here. There's bits of lines overlapping and it just won't do. Oh, Hairstyle, thank you so much. I think when we've done this hand, that's all of the flesh we have showing, so then we can start shading. And that's when things get a little bit more interesting. Okay, wunderbar. Alright, so all of the skin has been now kind of popped in. We can now start shading. So, I always start with the face, start with the portraiture. And yeah, we'll get started. So this is a flat shaded character design. It's one of the two different styles I offer at the moment for commissions, flat shaded and full painterly. And flat shaded basically means there are simple shadows and it's a little bit more kind of comic booky, kind of graphic-y, if that makes sense. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to make sure that the alpha channel is locked. What this means, let's just grab a random color, bright orange, why not, is I can scribble all over my tablet and the only place that paint will go is onto areas that I've already painted. It's really, really handy and basically saves you a lot of time and keeps things clean. So the first thing I'm going to do when I'm painting the face is we're going to add a blush across the nose and the cheeks. To do that, I'm just going to take the base skin layer that we've already got, that color, very slightly push it towards red, and grab a slightly darker, more saturated version of that same color. Thank you so much. Oh, here we go. Cadron Nocapadurapoli, I'm so sorry for butchering that. Thank you so much for following. Do you ever think about opening up higher Patreon tiers one day? I've thought about it. I'm not really sure what I would offer at a higher Patreon tier, to be honest. I mean, it would, you know, I'd like to do it, but I kind of have my, I have my hands full doing the monthly sketches that I do for patrons as it is. They're quite demanding to do. So if I had a higher tier, what I would probably offer for a higher tier is maybe when I get my print shop up and running, I could offer like a discounted rate sort of thing, like a 20% off or whatever. That's probably what I'd do. Because doing monthly art is quite demanding. I would also potentially do like quarterly prints, just kind of mailed to the people who supported that tier. That could be quite a fun thing to do. At the moment, I don't really have many prints available. Oh, the sold out ones. Possibly. Again, it's already quite demanding, the number of sketches that I currently do per month for people. But I might consider doing it soon. I mean, there are some people who subscribe at that tier amazingly kindly and don't actually ask for the monthly sketches, so in that regard, yeah, I probably could open up some more. What device am I working on? I'm working on a Wacom Cintiq 16, which was the Cintiq tablet that they brought out, I believe it's like 2 years ago now, basically to compete with the cheaper X Pen and Huon tablets. It's still quite expensive. I think it retails at about 420. At least that's how much it was when I got it. But it's never done me wrong, and it's always performed very well for me. Unfortunately, I kind of trained with a Wacom while I was at university, so it's what I was familiar with. And yeah, it was worth investing in if you're like full time, like I am. Okay, so yeah, basically what I'm doing here is I'm just using a slightly darker shadow layer to start adding, whoops, yeah, the Photoshop had a little wobbly there, just to start adding in our basic shadows. I'm going to save again, just in case Photoshop decides it's having a moment. So with a smaller brush, the next bit of shadow I'm going to work on is just adding some shadow around the nose, like so, and under the lips. Often you get a little bit of shadow in the dimples at the corner of the smile as well. And we'll have a little bit cast off the hair too. Down the side, back the cheekbones. Just gonna blend this in a bit. I don't often do too much blending with this art style. That's usually what I do with my other painting style. But in some places I like to keep it smooth. And then there'll also be some of the shadow in the ear as well. And some places then you can bring back a little speck of light just in there. And then I'm also going to add some shadow under the neck. Yeah, it's definitely a lot cheaper than all of their previous Cintiq models. That was where I kind of jumped on it when they released it. Like before that, their Cintiq started at like 800 quid, and there was no way I could have afforded that. I still couldn't afford that. Alright, so now we've introduced some gentle shadows, it's time to get a little bit more intense. And hey, Ellerin, don't worry, you're late to the party, but the party's still going. Just gonna add a little bit of highlight to the tip of the nose there. And then, yeah, like I say, we're gonna grab a slightly darker shade color. We're gonna, again, tip towards red ever so slightly and get darker. And more saturated at the same time. I'm kind of doing both. And this shadow will be a lot deeper. And then I often will pop in this darker shadow on the corner of the eye here. On the top corner. And then I will blend it in just a bit. And then we'll just grab it again. I'm going to add a little bit to the underside of the nose. And the lip there. And we're going to use it on the darkest kind of internal part of the ear. X-Pen's still good though. Like the X-Pen and Huon brands are both really solid choices. Like they're very well regarded at this point. I don't think there's any like reason not to trust them. I'm just not really familiar with them is all, so I couldn't recommend them myself. Okay, so with that nice little shadow in there, I'm going to just put a tiny bit of even darker shadow in a couple of places. A lot more subtle this time. It's kind of where we're dunking it. Lovely. What I'm also going to do is I'm just going to erase this construction line there. We no longer need it. And then we are going to do the lips. So the lips for this character, we're going to make them a little bit pinkier, but not too pink. This character doesn't really wear makeup as such, I don't think. So we don't want to go too overboard with this. I want them to be rosy but fairly natural looking. then I'm basically just filling in between the lines again. Nothing really more complex to it than that at this point. And then I'll take the upper lip colour and use that to shade the bottom lip a bit. Like so. And I'll put a little dash bit on the bottom. And then we'll grab a even darker version of this colour and use that to shade the top lip. You often get shadow coming in at the corners, and the brightest part is usually on the bottom lip and on the top kind of side. But then equally you want to put in some little shinies, little bits of light, so I'm going to make Elaran's favourite layer, which is the shinies layer. Switch to a smaller brush, and then just add a little bit of shine. Like so. Oh, Elaran, thank you so much. But yeah, cool. There is our lips. Now let's do this little eye. For this style, the eyes are a little simpler than doing my other styles. I basically grab a pale green. A bit of an unusual colour to start with, but bear with me. I use that as the base for the sclera. Like so. I'm going to grab some of this dark red just to do the little inny bit at the corner of the eye. And then I'm actually going to grab a pale kind of dusky pink. Well, not that pale, it's more of a greyish pink at this point. And we're just going to use that to add some shadow to the top and the corners of the eye, like so. What colour eyes does this character have? Green eyes! Okay, lovely, we can add a nice green eye. Green eyes tend to start with a kind of a yellowish brown, so that's what I'm going to start it off with. So we're just going to pop that in here. Then I'm going to go up to the shinies layer. Normally I have an overlines layer, but for this character in this style, we're only going to have the one layer on top of the line art. Then we're going to grab a colour that's almost black, but not quite. One of the lessons that always stuck with me from being an art in my A levels was never use absolute black to paint with. Okay, and then as you can see, I'm kind of creating a gentle gradient between the pupil and the top of the eye. And we can then gradually make our way up towards green through the yellows, getting a bit lighter, and add the lighter colours to give the eye the nice kind of green look. I want a size 4. There we go. Oh, Lightbounder, thank you so much. Again, it's just something, once you've done it enough, you kind of learn what colours look nice together and how to select shadow colours that kind of complement the rest. So yeah, I'm basically doing little radial points that come out away from the pupil there. And then I'm going to go up a bit further, grab a lighter green, do that again, just on one side though. And there we have the green eye. I'm also going to grab a light, almost white blue, and just add a little bit of shine there, just to bring the eyes to life. And then we can do the eyebrows. So going back to the skin, I'm just going to do this on the skin layer. I'm going to double check what colour the hair is. Brown hair. So this is going to be nice. This is going to be it's going to kind of have some interplaying colours of brown here. Brown is, like a lot of people think brown is kind of a boring colour for hair, but brown can have kind of flickers of gold, it can have flickers of red, even kind of bits of green in there. There's a lot of ways you can make brown look more interesting as a colour. For example, when I start rendering brown hair, for example, I actually don't start with, you'd think you'd probably start like here, grabbing a chocolatey brown colour or something. I actually start with purple. I find this is a much more realistic way to render brown hair. Or indeed brown anything. I also use this for when I'm rendering brown leather. I personally find that using a very dark purple is a much better kind of first base colour to start with. But yeah, we're just going to just paint that straight onto here. Fill in the area where the eyebrow is. I'm actually going to pop some on this side as well, because there really should be some eyebrow going on here. even if the eye is gone. Hey, Arrow Ace Bard, welcome to the stream. And then as we kind of lighten the brown, you can start to move towards the traditional kind of chocolate colours, but I still always kind of start with the purple brown. And then a little bit higher, I'm going to go onto the shinies layer, make my brush really small, just to do some little points of highlight here. And there we have the eyebrow. We should probably do the same on the other side. What? There we go. And now we can probably start painting her hair, I think. Yeah, why not? Let's do the hair. And don't forget to save. Thank you so much for reminding me. Okay, so maybe I should do, yeah, let's do the eye patch first. I like to kind of fill areas in a bit like Minesweeper before I move on to stuff that's new. So I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to call it eye patch. You can kind of see me now shading leather textures in action because I'm going to do that right now. Again, grabbing that dark purpley pink, and we're just going to start by filling in the whole area the eye patch is kind of covering. And because we're doing this on a layer underneath the skin, it means I can be as rough as I like when I'm painting around here, and it won't matter because it's covered up by the layer on top. Let's grab a slightly smaller brush as we make our way up here. There we go. See, the lighting in here changes so drastically from the start of the stream because now it's kind of got dark outside during the process of the stream. So now my ring light and my other lighting is doing a lot more work. It actually looks better. Okay, cool. So we've got this base layer on for the eye patch. I'm gonna, once again, lock that layer. I'll lock it down. And we're just gonna add some quick shadow. Obviously, this is the slightly more shadowed side. So we're going to see more shadows there, and then we're just going to have blend them in together. And grab the shadow again, and just add it to the strap. So, coming up there, and then what I'm going to do is, I believe there's a very subtle Triskelion pattern on the actual eye patch itself, so I'm going to have a go at just rendering that on here. Go down to a 6. This is where I have to do it in one fluid line because, there we go. Okay, that's the basic shape of the pattern that we're going to have on the eye patch. So I'm actually going to drop down to a 4 because this is quite fiddly. And then we're also going to grab a size, oh, yeah, size 3, that'll do. Size 3 eraser. And we're going to use that to get the knotwork pattern. Whoops, that was not the eraser. There it is. It doesn't need to be super precise because when you zoom out you can't really see it. It's just a very subtle bit of pattern work. And I'm just going to add a bit more kind of pattern going around the side. Just so there's a bit of something going on in this eye patch and it isn't just kind of boring. And then we're going to add some shading to it. And then highlights, because what is life without highlights? Hey, Acute Castle, welcome to the stream. Also, it was Colonel Mustard, Buttons and Band-Aids. Thank you both so much for following. Sorry I missed you a bit earlier. Alright, now we have some subtle kind of pattern going on the eye patch itself. I'm going to take this opportunity to add highlights to some other parts of the eye patch as well. Taldia, why do you stream D&D and not Art Channel? Because I do both. And this is D&D artwork, so I don't know. Also, there didn't used to be an art channel. I think they added that fairly recently. I don't know. They've changed it up. I haven't actually changed my Twitch settings in months, so I am way behind on the times. I probably should change it. And it's funny how much just adding a little highlight can actually bring out a shape quite nicely. Make something look more like woven leather. Alright, cute. Okay, so that's done. Yeah. Yeah, I've been a while. I don't change things very often. Cool. Let's work on the hair now, shall we? So, new layer. Unsurprisingly, we're going to call it hair. And then I'm going to call it hair 1 because we've got 2 layers of hair here. We've got the long braids and then we've got the kind of undercut shaved down sides bit as well. So, we'll just start with the long parts. Once again, we're going to use that purple base. I'm going to use a slightly lighter purple base, and this tone is going to change a lot as we work on it. And this is great because I hoped we'd get to the hair, because the hair is going to be one of the most fun parts of this entire character to paint, so I'm very excited to do it on stream. Oh yeah, they added it into just chatting, or they were going to, and that was dumb. I think it's also because my OBS, when it's like looking for categories, art counts as a video game for some reason. So it might actually be my OBS software that's just not recognizing it. Okay. Just got a little loose bit there. Oh, have a nice walk, Aimless Wanderings. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you have a good walk. Okay, so we're going to switch to a slightly smaller brush for getting these little details. I'm tempted to start using my hairbrush now, but I'm not. I'm going to resist that. In fact, no, I'm not. Okay, I'm going to use my hairbrush. Let's see how long I stuck to that principle. Alright, this is the brush I use for hair. Mostly for rendering hair. In this case, I also use it when I have rough kind of edges. Like there. And now I'm immediately switching back to my other brush. Ooh, that was too big. Let's just make that a bit smaller. And then we're just going to fill in the rest of the hair kind of flats before we start shading. So again, making sure we don't go over the lines for the clothing too much, because it just makes our life a lot easier later on if we haven't got to tidy up messy edges. I'm just going to do this braid, the one that's kind of coming over the shoulder, because I wanted to show off that this character does have a lot of braids, and it felt a bit of a shame to just kind of, it's almost all hidden behind the cloak, which is why I kind of wanted one of the braids to be falling over the shoulder like that. And then it's just doing a little tail. I don't know if they're actually called tails, but it's what I call them. My hair has never really got long enough to be able to braid quite this intensely. Yeah, my hair is short and boring. Doesn't like to do anything other than what it wants, which is usually just to be kind of flat and limp. Which is why, as I said earlier, I design characters with the most ridiculous hairstyles so I can live voraciously through them. Alright, there's just a loose strand coming across there, and we'll just do this a bit here. I'm going to be a bit lazy, I'm just going to manually fill that, and then just tidy up the messy join mark. And then, do I want to do this bit now? I probably should. Yeah, I should fill this bit in now too. Just get all the hair done at once. Oh yeah, from being the Fey King, you totally should. I'm hopeless when it comes to actually doing hair in real life. I can design lovely hairstyles on the page, but when it comes to real life, I'm not very good with hair or makeup at all, to be honest. I can make it look nice for other people on a page, but I cannot do it IRL. Alright, let's switch to a larger brush just to, again, work in the main body of the braid. Then we can go back to the smaller brush again in a minute. They're really hard to do. Like, my hand-eye coordination isn't good enough. When my hair gets a bit longer, I can just about do a baby braid, and I can do a normal braid, but I can't for the life of me do Dutch braids or French braids. I just suck at them so bad, which is annoying. I love Dutch braids. I wish I could work out how to just do them without dropping everything through my fingers. Hello, Queerbird. Welcome. Yes, we're running on slightly longer today. We're going for a full 2 hours. Why? Because I felt like it. I felt like being productive, you know? And I know that when I stop, I want to get back to my sewing, and then I'll be distracted from work for a few hours. Oops, yeah, Photoshop just had a little blip there. I would love to be able to do fancy braids, my goodness. I just have to settle for drawing them on characters for now. Ooh, interesting. Like I say, I also wanted to try bleaching and then dyeing my hair last year, but I was too cowardly and didn't do it. Also, I kind of needed a friend to help me do it, and then lockdown happened, so that was never going to work. So when I was a little kid, my mum used to French braid my hair, and I used to not like it because it like always really pulled when she did it, but I kind of wish that she taught me how to do it now, because I cannot do it. I can do it on like a mannequin or a wig in front of me. I did it for Riza's wig, but I can't do it on my own hair because I just can't. I can't not see what I'm doing, you know? I don't understand how people can do such beautiful hairstyles like behind their head and they can't even see it. It's crazy. Thank you so much to Black and Forge for following. I hope you enjoy the stream. We're nearly done filling in hair now. Ugh. There we go. And a little bit there, and then last bit, finally. Okay, and I'm just going to tidy up the line work a little bit. There, and there. And there we have our hair base layer. Well, actually, it's not quite complete, is it? We left out this bit down here. It should join up, even though I don't think I finished the line out there, but oh well. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Yeah, art streams are fun. I enjoy doing mine. Okay, hair is done. We shall now save again before we lose everything. And then we can start the wonderful process that is rendering the hair. Now you might have noticed at the moment the hair and the eye patch are rather similar in colour. We don't want that. But that's not a problem, because the next thing to do is to start creating a gradient for this hair that we can then use to get it rendered looking real pretty. So I'm going to grab a lighter brown to start us off. And we're just going to splash this all over areas where light is going to hit, which mostly for now will be the top area. And then we're going to do the same again. Slightly lighter brown still. Like so. And then we have our darks. So we've got this dark pink again. I'm just going to put a little bit of... No. Photoshop's having a little lag. There we go. It got itself together in the end. I'm going to put some more of that dark pinky purple here. And I'm actually going to grab an even darker variant. And put that there, right at those ends. And then what we're going to do is we're going to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And then we're going to stick this blur on like that. So what we have is a nice gradient going from the lights to the darks. Untitled 33, thank you so much. That's very kind. And now comes the fun part. Now is the part where we actually add the nice shape and the shading. So I'm going to grab one of the more reddy brown tones. In fact, what I'm thinking of doing right now is just cranking up our saturation. Oh yeah, I love rich brown hair. There it is. Oh, and something I forgot to do earlier. Let's tidy up the skin a bit because we've got a bit of a situation where we've got some untidy bits like here. Gonna just slim that down here and up here. And it doesn't take a moment just to tidy those up a bit and get it looking a little bit more presentable. There, lovely, there we go. Back to hair. Let's start shading like I said we were going to before I changed my mind. What class is she? I believe she is an half elf or wizard. I'm not sure what subclass though. The only reason I think she's a wizard is because she has her spellbook down there. I might be wrong. The commission didn't actually say what class she was. So cool. The first place I start rendering hair is adding some darker strands right at the roots. So coming out from the hairline here, we start adding this darker brown. Frumpkin, thank you so much. That's so kind. That really is lovely. Thank you. And then kind of working out where the hair overlaps onto itself, we add more kind of shadows there, where it kind of tucks into, where the braid kind of tucks into itself. You often get a lot of shadows there, so we're going to pop some there too. I'm just going to upsize my brush a little bit, like so. Just kind of creates a lot of more shape and 3D element to the hair. And then we're just going to do the same here all the way down as we start working into the darker bits, or the bits that were already this color. And when that happens, we need to take a darker tone. So we're going to grab a darker brown from down here. It's a constant kind of game of eye dropping from areas of shadow, introducing them higher up. But yes, we're going to take this darker tone and use that to shade these bits, which are already a bit darker than the surroundings. Oh, and by the way, the brush I'm using to render this hair with is called the Lewin Fur Brush, fur pointy end. If you just Google Lewin fur brushes, I believe they're still on Gumroad. You can grab the whole pack. I think it's pay what you want, so if you want, you can kind of give the artist a little bit of cash for that. I do, you know, it's very kind if you could, because us artists appreciate every little thing like that. So yeah, do support them if you can. It's a great set of brushes for rendering hair. I used to do all of this just with the normal hard round brush, but this saves a lot of time. I'm just going to lighten up my shading color ever so slightly as with the braid it starts to get a bit lighter in the middle and then goes dark again. What kind of info do I request when people give commissions? Yeah, so obviously a written description is great, preferably broken down into bullet points, like the character's story. If there are parts of the story that matter for the kind of visual style, then do let me know. But you don't need to go crazy on the story if it means that I might miss more important points of their appearance, you know? One of the most useful ways to present information for a commission is in a Google Doc. Google Doc's great because I can keep the tab open on my other screen while I'm painting and just keep referencing it. Another good thing you can do is if your character has existing artwork, it's wonderful if I can see that because I can see kind of their design. If you don't have any existing artwork of character, that's totally fine. It does mean I charge a tiny bit extra because I've essentially got to do more design work from the ground up. But that's not a problem, I do that all the time. I did it with this character. Yeah, basically, that's kind of a brief rundown on the info to send. Things like color palettes are really useful. That kind of vibe. I'm just going to go and add some shadows down here. All that stuff is very handy. Size that up a wee bit. Ah yes, hopefully that the brush set is still available. I think it was like a year ago now that I got it, so probably is. It hasn't been that long. Luan is also a fantastic artist. They do a lot more kind of creature art and stuff. Let's get that nice little bits of shading coming in there. There we go. Shade the braid, and then we'll grab that darker colour and do the same up here. Bearing in mind this hair is kind of coming out from behind the cloak, so it will be darker. The cloak, by the way, is going to be like a midnight bluey purple with kind of constellations embroidered in silver. So that's going to be a lot of fun to paint too. Just grab a highlight colour and just add, maybe not quite that bright, add some highlights to the kind of tail bits that are more kind of in the light than others. And there we kind of have the hair. Last thing I'm going to do with that bit, with darker colours anyway, is just add some black in where the band is tied with kind of like just black cord for now. I think leaving it dark is the best because that will contrast nicely with the clothing. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to do with the hair is we're going to take that lightest highlight colour and we're going to grab a lighter colour still. I'm going to do this on the shinies layer so that the line art is no longer a concern. Going back to my fur brush, we are just going to gently add in some bright highlights just at the crown where the light is hitting the most strongly. Sometimes you need to switch down, do a smaller brush for little fiddly bits like I'm doing now. Just give that little, but it just automatically adds a bit more life, a bit more kind of shine to the hair there. And I'll add a bit onto this braid as well, coming down. And there we go. There is the hair. So I think the very last thing I'm going to do is I would like to add that second layer of hair, which is going to be a bit darker because usually when you have shaved sides, they're a bit darker than the rest. So we're just going to dunk that in like so. It can show us where we need to tidy up on the layer above. So we'll do that quickly. I don't know why I've still got three. Three is a nothing brush. And then it'll also show me where I can gently tidy up the skin. Like so. Saying it again. Then we're going to lock that, add some shadows. Like so. I'm going to go in with the fur brush again, just to get that nice fluffy texture. There we go. And then lastly, just a little bit of highlight, more so where it meets the scalp than anywhere else. And you know, there we have progress on this lovely elven wizard. Oh, the bang designs, thank you so much, that's very kind. And we've been going for 2 hours, so I think that's probably where we're going to leave it for this afternoon. We did the whole line art and we've done the face and the hair. That's amazing progress. We did really good today. So thank you all so much for joining me. I'm going to dunk some links in chat, starting with my Twitter. I popped this in earlier, but if you want to see this piece finished or find out when I'm next streaming, Twitter is the best place to kind of keep tabs on what I'm doing. Next up, I also have an Instagram, very similar to my Twitter. I pop art on there. There is also costume making. I do a lot of cosplay and costume making at the moment. And on that note, if you would like to learn to make your own LARP kit, I'm starting a sequence of videos on doing just that on my YouTube channel soon, so keep an eye out for that. Also on my YouTube channel, you can find past streams. I upload the VODs onto my YouTube channel, so you can kind of look at old stuff, and there are kind of some cool little bits from old streams where I've actually broken down how I do hair, for example, and I do mini tutorials, so yeah, check that out. Next up, ArtStation. If you're interested purely in seeing my portfolio, ArtStation's a good place to have a look. It's all kind of in one place. There's no other social posts going on. Next up, the music I use in my stream is by a wonderful artist named Kai Engel. You can find their work on the Free Music Archive and also on Spotify. It's really nice ambient music. It's perfect for streaming and D&D, all sorts of things. Okay, and last but most certainly not least, if you would like to support the work that I do and you know are able to throw a little bit my way to help me make this my full-time career, which I'm trying to do, Patreon is the best place to help out. There are various reward tiers on there where you can get to see exclusive artwork, works in progress. There are a few step-by-step tutorials. I'm planning to add some more soon. And commission priority, which when I open commissions again, they do go in the space of a couple of hours. So commission priority basically allows you to guarantee yourself a commission slot. You basically get like a week ahead of everyone else to reserve one. But yes, I think that's everything for now. I hope all of you have an absolutely lovely weekend. Look after each other and stay safe, and I will be back next week on Wednesday at 5 o'clock GMT, same time as today. And yeah, I will see you then. Until then, keep warm, stay safe, and I will see